I want to thank you all very much. Welcome you again to the third Sabre Institute International Conference. It's crazy that we're here, and we've been sort of like, you know, in a pregnancy here, and we're finally giving birth, and it's very exciting. And we decided to call this event Artisans of the Grasslands, and I'll go a little bit into the why of it, the why of our theme. But I want to acknowledge and recognize and get a big round of applause to the artisan of the conference, Chris Kirsten. The complexity of it is crazy, and the fact that you're all here speaks of the amazing work he's done. But before I tell you what I thought this conference was all about, I'll ask him to share with you his vision for it, since he was the one who designed it.
So the goal of this event is designed to be different than anything else that hopefully any of us have been to. What we really want to do is start breaking down silos between industries and really bring together cross-demographics. So hopefully you'll see that here in the people represented and the demographics represented. We like to think of ourselves as a little bit of a Boots and Birkenstock crowd. So we're bringing folks from all different angles together here. But what we're thinking is we want people from finance, as we're having this whole paradigm shift happening in the financial world. We want to bring people from the food world, as this whole local food movement is happening and people are getting back to buying from farmers in their local region. This whole alternative health movement is happening at the same time, and we want to make sure that they're included. And then we have this whole regenerative agricultural movement, and we want to bring them in as well. So those are some of our 4 pillars that we like to see here. You'll see that reflected in our tracks. And then, of course, we also want to have researchers in all those fields joining, journalists in all those fields joining, and being a part of that and celebrating that as well. So you'll see a wide mix of people here. That's intentional, and we hope that we can continue to do that for future events to come. The idea is for it to switch sides of the globe every year. We're going to consider that this year if we want to do that again next year. Last we were in London. The year before that we were in Boulder. So this is a year-long process that we go through to do this. So while you may have only got your tickets, some of you hours ago, some of you months ago, we put a whole year of planning into this. So hopefully that shows in the level of execution that you see here. And we just hope that you guys have a fantastic time. Again, it's really our way to give back to you and really reinforce the movement and build roots and grow networks and strengthen it on a global level. So thank you so much for being here. I'll pass it back to Daniela.
So with that, I have nothing to say. We'll go to the next thing. That is great. So I want to thank you all, because the investment you've made in resources, in time, in money, I know the craziness of arranging ranches, you know, what happened, the logistics, what happened at the ranch, at the farm, with family, with work, it's no small feat. And the fact that you're here together, you are the ones that are making this conference as amazing as it is. So thank you so much for that. Without you, this wouldn't be what it is, right? And I would like to challenge you to take this conversation, with that in mind, the 100% commitment we have to make your investment worthwhile. And with the feedback we got from the past 2 conferences we had in Boulder and in London, we and Chris designed a program that we feel is going to meet the needs of all of us. Packed with learning, lots of opportunity for facilitated interaction and networking, and a lot of opportunity for more free-form interaction and networking. But I want to challenge you to take that to the next level. Many of us here network all day long and talk all day long, and we've been in dialogues and conversations forever, and some of them have resulted in some amazing outcomes. But I would like, out of this amazing group of people in the room, that we go home with some actionable items, some commitment, some paths that we want to explore together, some ideas we can start tackling in partnerships. There's so much to be done, and we need to put action into the event, into the equation. A yoga teacher, I'm not a great yoga thing, but once in a while I go, and he was saying, commitment is not what we say to ourselves or we say to others. Commitment is reflected in action, in changes in behavior, in hard work every day, in aligned, committed action, what we're saying and what we're doing. And it requires a lot of sacrifice and discipline, and it's a choice. So if we can all choose after we leave or during while we're here and after we leave, how are we going to turn this amazing inspiration and things we learn and people we've met into some good actionable items that will bring about change in this space that we're all trying to transform. So I challenge you to do that. And then to ask, what is the role the Sabre Institute can play in facilitating, in advancing some of these fruits that will come out from these 2 days together? Because we are really about facilitating, if we can, the big transformations, the big opportunities that may change the space of agriculture. So, having said that, I want to also thank our donors and our sponsors. If you're in the room, may I ask you to stand up so we can give you a big round of applause to you as well. Our sponsors are there, and any donors here. Woo-hoo! Thank you. And talking about committed action, I just saw Taylor and Katie there. Amazing, amazing corporate partners that are putting their action where their mouth is. We love you guys. It's great. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of commitment to do what you do. So all of you, thank you very much to our sponsors, our cornerstone donors. This couldn't have happened without you either. So, and then I want to thank and acknowledge the youth in this room. I've seen a lot of young people, everybody 50 and under would qualify. Okay, maybe not. Maybe 20 and under. May I see you up? I know you're there. Woo-hoo. And my little two, I have two little ones, 14 and 8, and they are coming a little bit later. They should be in the crowd. And it's incredibly important that you're here. And we want you to learn and listen from all these old adults. But we need to listen from you. We want you to contribute. You need to tell us how to engage you. Sometimes I talk to my 14-year-old, and I think I'm being so inspiring, right? I'm talking to her and making all these things, and she's looking at me like, when are you finishing? So I think you need to tell us how to do it. I don't know how to tweet. I'm learning. Actually, Haven, where are you? You will teach me, right? Yeah. So is it that way, or are there other ways we can inspire you into becoming engaged? And some of you may have been dragged by your parents, but some of you I know are here, and your kids are here, because you are smart, you're engaged, you're caring, you want to be a change, and in a blink you will be making decisions, you will be designing policy, you will be leading corporations or leading, nations, right? And you need to do a lot better than what we're doing now, and you need to know a lot more. So thank you for being here. Talk to us. Big applause to kids. So what I wanted to do, what happens sometimes, I'm going to start my short PowerPoint. What happens sometimes is that we get so excited about all the ideas that we share in these conferences, but many people do not know what the Sabre Institute is or what we do, and then the theme of the conference today. So I want to take just a little bit of time, very short, to go quickly through a little bit of just a few slides that will give some some context to the conversations we'll be having, and in line with what Chris said, the different speakers, the different topics that we're addressing, why we believe are important in transforming this space. So the Sabre Institute is dedicated to facilitating the large-scale restoration of the grasslands of the world. And there's more to the story than that, but that is our low-hanging fruit. That is our entry point, as Sarah Sher mentioned today, to contribute to some of the global issues that we face today, from climate change to food and water insecurity to poverty, which are symptoms of environmental malfunction. So we use grasslands and white grasslands. This is something Alan says, and all of you agree. We need to sustain our civilization by taking care of our soil. And green plants growing on regenerating soil is what really is the wealth of all nations. And so we are starting in the grasslands of the world. How can we grow more plants? How can we create these communities that are thriving? How we aid the realization and the restoration of the inherent vitality of these landscapes. And grasslands, as I said, is our low-hanging fruit. One, because it's been very ignored in the ag and in the climate agenda. Second, because it's a big landscape that has a lot of unrealized potential. And it happens to be that Alan Savory, our founder and visionary behind the work we do, has developed some insights around the management of these complex landscapes and processes that allow us to restore them effectively. So that is where we start, but that's not where we finish. As you can see, we've been enjoying great wine from vineyards, and cities are managed holistically, or towns or communities. So, but grasslands is our core landscape. And grasslands are crucial for life for a variety of reasons. One is their sheer size, and Alan always refers to these. It's a third of the Earth's land surface. It's a lot of area. It's miles and miles and miles and miles of amazing landscapes that are not as charismatic maybe as forests for many people, as rainforests or as other landscapes, but they are very beautiful and full of life. They are not as known. They are very remote. They are inhabited. So we need to make them more charismatic in the eye of everybody living in the cities, so we can care for them, so we can love them. So we care for things we love things we know. We need to get closer to these grasslands. They are amazing carbon sinks. That is beginning to be accepted in the carbon space, in the climate space, because of deep soils that are able to, through plants that are thriving and microorganisms in the soils that are able to bring the carbon from the atmosphere, store it in the soil, supporting life. Same with water. They are amazing sponges when they are healthy. They can absorb rapidly the rainfall. Then the water goes, supporting life, recharging waters instead of evaporating or creating floods somewhere else. So when things are working well, these are amazing reservoirs of water. And they are a food source for a livelihood for 1 billion people around the world. 1 billion people depend directly for their livelihoods and their food on the grasslands. And unfortunately, these landscapes are degrading at an alarming rate. Figures point to 70% of these grasslands have suffered a level of degradation, desertification, as we refer to. And with that, we're losing our ability to hold the carbon in the soils. So it starts being released into the atmosphere, creating or aiding the issue of climate change. The water, instead of supporting life in the soils or recharging waters, now is evaporating or is creating the symptoms of droughts and floods that we see more and more severe and more frequent. and their ability to produce food. And maybe we don't quite experience that in the United States, despite the degradation of the grasslands here, but we work in a lot of areas around the world in which we see the direct impact of losing that ability to produce food for communities that don't have a store nearby, right, to buy food. They depend on what they can gather from the bounty of nature. So this is our opportunity, and we have holistic management to help us turn around this trend. And then we have, let me see if I can bring the real picture here. It's not coming. This is the key to my whole presentation. And I'm not sure why not, but here is this very handsome cowboy I'm looking at, riding a horse with an amazing herd of black Angus. And you're not seeing it. I'm sorry for you. But, bummer. Someone can fix this? Anyway.
If we all come on the stage, can we have it all complete?
Yes, we can do that. But now I'm going to use Heaven's techniques. I learned it today. So this cowboy, so this cowboy gets up in the morning, and it's raining. Heaven, am I doing well? It's raining, and he thinks, I would love to stay in bed a little bit longer. It's 4 o'clock. It's dark. I can't. I have a herd of 1,400 animals that need to be moved. They are hungry. And I need to get the horses ready. And my hired men, my gauchos, not in the United States, are there waiting for me. So he gets up, puts his jeans on, his boots, comes downstairs, prepares coffee, turns on the fire for his family when they wake up a couple of hours later. The house is warm, but now it's very cold. And he's thinking, I have to get out there. So he gets going, drinks his coffee, goes to get his rain jacket. He doesn't find it. The kid yesterday used it, left it somewhere. Okay, I have to go outside anyway. He goes outside. And then he saddles his horse, he gets on the horse, his buddies show up, and they go, open the gate, call the animals. Different ways of doing it. We used to say, come on, come on. And the 1,400 animals cross the gate, come into fresh pasture. They are happy. They are cared for. They are doing their work for the cowboy, for the land, for themselves. 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, they cleaned up the pasture, come back home. Wife has, or husband has, breakfast ready, and that goes on and on. At the same time, in Kenya, it's dark, it's the middle of the night, and we have our pastoralists that we work with them there, and they are camping around a kraal, making sure that their herd of 5 animals are not eaten by lions, because the lions are nearby, they can hear them. And that is food for the family. They have to take care of these things. And so he stays up, and he's 14, and he's taking care of his herd. And morning comes, and he goes off and takes them to the next grazing area. And both of them come back to look at their holistic plan, because they are holistic managers, and say, where do I need to be, and where are the things that are changing today that will affect how things happen during the rest of the year, and how is this that I do today going to impact tomorrow and the day after and a year from now. And they are thinking strategically, and they are dealing with their own context, and they are fighting their own challenges, and they are living their own uniqueness that we as consumers have no idea of. So these artisans that are going the extra mile to understand how to manage the complexity of their lives, not only of a grasslands, but their finances, their kids' education, their future, the lack of rain or too much of it, and the lions and the hyenas and all these things are unique contexts that only can be managed proactively and successfully if we have a framework that allow us to think through all that complexity and make decisions that take us in the right decision. That is what holistic management does. With all these planning processes that allow us to put some order to all that complexity. It's a huge commitment in thinking, in planning, in observing, in replanning is very contextual and very unique for each individual. So we invite everybody to move away a little bit of the idea that holistic management is grazing. Holistic management allows for a very deep and strategic decision-making framework that is as helpful and valuable to the Maasai in Kenya, to the cowboy in the United States, to the gaucho in Patagonia. And the result of most of us that have seen or done it are always, no matter where, are always more carbon in the soils, more water in the soil supporting life, more profitability, more prosperity, more well-being, because it comes hand in hand. And it doesn't matter if you're in Zimbabwe or where you are. You have seen some of these pictures before, right? South Africa. So in each environment, it will look differently. It will take different amount of time. It will involve different aspects of implementation. And in the art of implementing, in this art of implementing it, is what our artisans, our land managers, our holistic managers are so good at. And that is what we want to celebrate and elevate, because they are the silent voices in all these. We don't see the gauchos, we don't see the cowboys, and we don't see the Maasai going through all that very important process. They are the most important workers that we have in this planet because they feed us every day. And we don't know them enough. So unfortunately, in the past decades, with industrial agriculture, we have seen a little bit of the simplification, the erosion of these skills. We want to recapture them, grow them, and seeing them go viral. And that is what we're trying to do through our strategy. We have 5 billion hectares of hope and opportunity that we want to touch. And to touch all those landscapes, we need to reach the artisans. So we said, how do we reach enough artisans? And so we said, okay, we won't reach the 5 billion hectares. We only go for 1 billion. And so we said, okay, 1 billion hectares, how do we get to enough artisans that can restore these 1 billion hectares? We cannot do it from Boulder, Colorado. So we would love to, but impossible. So we need to make sure that we have enough people, entrepreneurs, committed individuals all over the place that can reach out and equip those artisans to do what they need to do. So we have that in our hub network. And this is an idea that started taking shape. We have partners and co-leaders around the world. These are entrepreneurs that are self-sustaining, looking for entrepreneurial solutions to any obstacle and gaps that there are in their regions, in their own unique contexts, and reaching out to the farmers, equipping them and helping them in this transition from where they are at to where they can be. And we see our hub network, this infrastructure, as a deployment infrastructure, an infrastructure for deployment of investment, aggregators of producers that are doing amazing things for corporate partners, and distributors or deployment of training and education and implementation support. However they want to design it, our leaders know. So we help now. We have removed ourselves from the artisan, and now we're working with our hub network, and you'll learn a lot more about it during the next couple of years. And our network of entrepreneurs, and we have 27 at the moment, are amazingly doing this for us. So It says there we have 30 hubs. We have 27 accredited. We're going up to 40 in 2016. We have lots of candidates every year. If we could, we would take more and more. It's amazing, and they are all amazing entrepreneurs, from co-ops of producers to individuals to organizations. There's this desire to impact their regions. They work with us for a whole year, getting the training, the support, the tools they need to execute on their own regions, and then they go and do it. And they are doers, and they are amazing people. And I would like to ask you guys to stand up, all the hub leaders that are here in the room. That is great. We have in the United States, many states in the United States. We have in Canada, Mexico, Argentina, Chile, Australia, in the UK, in Sweden, and Norway. We had one in Spain. We're trying to get him back. We have Turkey. And then we have Malawi, Kenya, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. Have I missed any?
Yeah.
Who?
Canada.
I said Canada. Yes. And Canada rocks. It's amazing. Yes, yes. Okay. No, this is just for a sort of like communication thing. So we have all these amazing co-leaders, partners working, reaching out, equipping the artisans of the land to execute on our choices as consumers. And here comes the last piece of the presentation and the work of the Sabre Institute. How do we tell our artisan what we want? Everybody lives in the cities. The artisans are very, very isolated doing their work, and they are actually executing on our choices. We pay at the supermarket, or when we go buy something, we pay for what we choose, and we're telling something to that artisan. I care about you putting carbon back into the soil. I care about biological diversity. I care about wildlife. I care about all these things. Or I don't really give a hoot. If we continue to tell the world we don't care because we're choosing something without an understanding of the supply chain, the impact, ecological, social, environmental, of our choices as consumers, the signals are all messed up. And believe me, the signals are messed up in the marketplace and in policy. So how do we change policy and market so we can start aligning them with what the artisan needs to know? And when the artisan says, okay, I'm ready to do the right thing, the hubs will be there to support them in the transition with investment, with whatever it might be. We have a lot of really great things happening in the investment world now, with carbon, with livestock. The most amazing schemes, the most amazing programs, the most amazing things that can come to be, if we don't have the artisan executing, what will happen? You won't be sequestering carbon if there's no people that know how to do it. So we need both. It's a sandwich approach. We need the people on the land equipped to do the right thing, and we need the signals aligned so there's an incentive to go through the pain of shifting from what I'm doing to what I'm going to do, and a de-risking of the process. At this point, it's very risky to change. It's a lot more comfortable to know that no matter if you do well or not, you'll get a check. So that is what we're trying to change. And Alan Savory says always, with this I close, institutions cannot lead. And if we see governments and corporations as institutions, with some great exceptions like Epic and all these amazing corporations that are really very courageous and are truly leading, what we need is public opinion. They follow public opinion. Even if it's a small group of innovators that they are following, they're following public opinion. So we need to change public opinion. So part of the conversations here and why we have Heaven and we have these amazing storytellers that are going to be with us is because we need to start getting a little bit deeper as consumers, all of us. What is the impact of this red dress that I'm wearing? what is the supply chain, the environmental and the social and the financial, the actual cost of these dress or the food you ate. You ate holistically raised food, by the way. Thanks to Chris. It's quite cool, quite cool. So that is what we need to become more sophisticated consumers, public. For that, we're very confused. We have too many labels out there. We need to figure out how to get more sophisticated, educated consumers to start sending the right signals for policies and markets to start following public opinion in the right direction. Then we can see the changes in the land. Do we have time for all that? I hope so, because the climate space is getting quite scary. So having said all that, that's why you will meet the artisans. There are artisans in this room. You will meet the hub leaders, or with their own angles and ideas and approaches to doing what they are doing in their regions. You will meet the partners, the corporate partners that are trying to lead in a place in which it's hard to lead, right? And you will meet the storytellers and the amazing poets and singers and social media gurus that will help us, and please help us, reach that public to change the way we choose and send signals to those affecting that nexus between us and the health of our land and the planet.